Welcome to Acharya Shunya's Vedic Satsang. Acharya Shunya is a modern teacher of ancient, timeless, transformative wisdom from the Vedas, Upanishads, and Bhagavad Gita. Her teachings change lives, enabling happiness, well-being, and abundance. For seekers of the ultimate truth, these teachings offer realization of the sovereign self. Acharya Shunya is a Vedic wisdom holder of an ancient lineage who received her traditional training under her guru Baba Ayodhya Nath in Ayodhya, India. Baba tasked Acharya Shunya to bring these teachings to the world through her lineage school, Vedika Global. We welcome you to begin your journey of Vedic studentship with these monthly classes. Please be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for ongoing study with Acharya Shunya.
Welcome. Welcome to my global classroom. I'm so looking forward to sharing the wisdom that has changed my life. And you can smile right now, because when you start receiving spiritual knowledge, it's not serious business actually. Actually, it's really great news because sorrow is going to be over. And I'm a very different kind of teacher. If you're watching me, let me tell you about my journey a little bit. I'm not like the typical swamis and the gurus coming out of India. I am a daughter, a mother, a wife. In fact, I've been married twice. And I'm here to tell you that I've gone through the rigmarole of life. I've gone through the friction of life. And I have come through with the knowledge that I'm going to share with you. I think I'm one of the happiest people on this planet today. And I mean it. I have students everywhere, all over the world. And they too are learning one message from me that I want to bring through this global classroom. What is that? Enough of holiness. Let's go for wholeness. I think the holiness business was never what the Vedas were trying to tell us. They were never trying to tell us what is pure or impure, what is good or not good, what is evil or what is, divine. They were only telling us when we become estranged from our own wholeness, that is the only sin. When we stop celebrating ourselves, that is the only reason we should feel like we're not being holy enough. The Vedic wisdom that I want to share with you and the way I want to share it with you is going to be very different. So if you were expecting a teacher whose only claim to teaching you the Vedic wisdom was holiness, then you might want to get off this channel. Because I feel holy, because I am whole, and I'm going to show you how to be whole. Are you ready? Are you ready? That's the way we're going to be. When I was born, my guru, my grandfather, who I call Baba, and you can call him too if you like, because you'll be hearing a lot about him, named me Shunya. Shunya is a Sanskrit word from the Vedas, from the Upanishads. And it means two things. It means actually infinity. And because the Vedic seers, the Hindus, gave the world the concept of zero to the world arithmetic based out of infinity. So it also means zero in numerics. So when I got this name, he gave me the name Shunya from a spiritual inspiration, and he gave my sister the name Purna. One means fullness, the other means emptiness. One means completion, the other means zero. I didn't like being called zero. I didn't like being teased zero. So I asked my father to give me a different name, and he had also given me another name, which I used in the school, Pratichi. But later I understood, as my learning deepened, that what was Baba asking me? He was telling me, Shunya, go from zero to infinity. Shunya, recognize that what zero means. Dare to be a zero to the society so that you can claim your infinitehood from within you. And therefore, when I became ready to be infinite, I was also ready to be the zero. So I am Shunya for you. So one more teaching that I invite you to in my global classroom is the embracing of your inner zero. Are you ready? Then let me know. If you're ready, then write a yes in the comment box. If you are ready to go from holiness to wholeness, if you are ready to go from zero to infinity, then write yes in the comment box and I will look for your yes. This journey begins with a yes. Spiritual journey, my dear friends, always begins with a yes. Yes, I deserve. Yes, I deserve to know. Yes, I deserve to lead a much more sovereign life than I do today. Psychological bondages are just not right for us human beings. Actually, even animals live free, you know. Animals love, they let go, but they don't put each other in psychological snares and traps. We humans do. We set traps, we walk into traps. We spend our entire life opening those traps to walk into another trap. And then Vedic wisdom comes and tells us, you are a sovereign being. Your nature is Nitya Mukta. You are eternally free. You should be celebrating your freedom because you have this unique gift of a unique mind. This mind, when misunderstood, puts us in bondage. And this mind, when understood, connects us to our inner freedom. So if you're ready for inner freedom, if you're ready for your journey from bondage to sovereignty, then write yes. I'm asking you to write yes because this yes is an inner sankalpa. A sankalpa is a soul decision. It's not the decision of your ego. It's your very deep internal yes to the journey that you want. So as a teacher, I am different. I enjoy my difference. In fact, I'm going to invite you to rejoice who you are because I teach you this wisdom not only because I was fortunate to be born in a family with an ancient lineage and a living master, my grandfather, who was the disciple of his grandfather. So I was fortunate, as Lord Krishna says, that probably the yoga brashtas, those that had fallen off or gotten off for some reason or distracted from the path of yoga, union with their higher self, they are supported by the universe, by divine allness, by Ishvara, by being supported in their next janma or birth to be near their guru. They may even be born in their guru's home, Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita. So I really believe that I was supported in my journey that had begun some lifetimes ago to have completed it in this lifetime. And that is why I opened my school, which had up till now been more secluded and offered only to very select students, to anyone who comes with a sincere heart and wants to study. Right now I'm going to be teaching once a month, but if we all start humming with this knowledge and we all start saying yes, from holiness to wholeness, from zero to infinity, from bondage to freedom, then who knows, I might be teaching you every day. Really, this happens when the student wants to know, then the teacher teaches. That is how it happened in Bhagavad Gita when Arjuna submitted to Lord Krishna and he says to Lord Krishna that I'm suffering from karpanya dosha, I'm suffering from helplessness, confusion, powerlessness, misery, please teach me. Then Lord Krishna began teaching and he taught all the way unto the 18th chapter. 650 odd verses are from the teacher to the student. So if you ask me questions, which you should feel free to write in the comment box, we shall read them. I shall offer you my answer today or in a future class or in the form of a teaching, or you can write to us at Vedika Global and your questions shall reach me. So I want to set the stage. I want to invite you. I want to tell you that we are ready for a new kind of teacher and a new kind of student. What's new? It's really old. Lord Krishna and Arjuna, they were people of the world. They were not wearing robes that were signifying that they lived in the remote Himalayas. This was not a private discussion happening in a secret cave. What happened in the Mahabharata war, what happened, this conversation, this gospel of the Bhagavad Gita that the Guru gave to the Shishya Arjuna happened in the middle of war, in the middle of bloodthirsty cries, in the middle of a lot of sorrow and anxiety and dust and grime in full public view, so that till today, thousands of years later, we are having a discussion on that public conversation. The teacher was of this world, the student were of this world, they were grihastas, one was a king, another was a soldier, the situation was a war. Should I fight that war or not? Our life today too, dear students, is full of those warlike situations. Should I speak up? Should I be quiet? Should I send that email? Should I not? Should I dare to have a different opinion? What will people say? But if I don't say what I have to say, what will my soul say? Do you not deal with those situations? I did too. Fortunately, I had received Baba's teachings as a young child. And I got the laboratory of my own life, my relationships, its ups and downs, its brokenness, its wholeness, its cracks and its fullness, its ugliness and its beauty. To try that knowledge. You may be wondering where I was for so many years. If you don't know me and I'm brand new to you, then let me tell you that I was in my own battle of Kurukshetra, and I have come through successful. And if you ask any of my students, they too have been coming through successful in their own personal battles. And if you're a student watching this classroom, this global classroom, then let your fellow students in the whole world who are watching today and who shall watch in the future this video, that you have come through your own battles using this Vedic wisdom. Right, I am winning this battle. I am winning this battle of self-ignorance. I'm winning this battle of estrangement from my own truth. I'm winning this battle when I betrayed myself way too many times. I'm winning this battle when I saw an enemy in the other eye, when really that eye was the eye of that divine allness peering at me in the role of an enemy or a friend. I am winning this battle. How? With the aid of Jnana, with the aid of knowledge. I welcome you. I welcome you because if you have tuned in, or if you are tuning in today or later, you are looking for answers. And let me tell you that these answers we can find in the Vedas, the later part of the Vedas, especially the Upanishads, and the Bhagavad Gita, which is the quintessential essence of the Upanishads. And I teach from that. There are many teachers who require no scripture. They say they are the scripture. I'm not that modern. I believe that those scriptures were truly, truly representative of a unique wholeness. They are not even written by any one human. They have not been copyrighted or patented by anybody. In fact, they are called aparushiye. They are of divine origin. And they are timeless, they are sanatana. They are meant for human beings in every era. That is why you are here in this classroom and I have been teaching for over 2 decades. These scriptures, or what are also known as Shastra, they have delivered relief, wisdom, inner calm, and the path to self-actualization and self-realization. And above all, with your dignity remaining intact, with you remaining the sovereign master of your life, what else do you need? Therefore, I am not going to invent a scripture. My ego doesn't need to do that. I can just tell you that I am a humble and simple messenger of that timeless truth. And any mistakes are mine because my teacher taught me a perfect gospel. But I'm a human being, I may make errors. I'm definitely not a career teacher. Though my Baba believed that one day I would lead thousands of students and thousands of people to a greater awakening, and I am doing that. For a while there, my own mind was confused or distracted with child and marriage and relationships. So I didn't plan on it. I didn't try it. I was definitely not desperate to be a spiritual teacher. I didn't suddenly go shopping for spiritual clothes or costume. But life made me a teacher because my inner guru awakened. And I welcome each one of you to awaken your inner guru. That is what the Shastra wants. Arjuna was a lost person on the battlefield. I was an Arjuna once, but I am not lost, as our Arjuna was not lost. He knew what he had to do. I know what I had to do, and I know what I'm going to do next. I'm going to teach you. And the first teaching that I want to give you is of a beautiful value illustrated in the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 13, verse 8, which talks about what you can do so that you become a gift to yourself and to this whole universe. What are the things you can do? Amanitvam adambitvam, ahimsa kshantirajvam, acharyopasanam shaucham, stairyam atma vinigraha. This is a small teaching, verse 8. Of that I'm going to teach you because I've already taught the other values which you can find in my prior videos. The value of shaucham. Shaucham means purity. And every day, don't you, dear one, realize that your body has become dirty from its transactions in the world, from its movement on the earth. So it needs to be washed, it needs to be cleansed, it needs to wear pure clothes. We all do it. Most of us do it if we are of healthy mind and balance. We are physically healthy, we want to be clean. We feel that inner urge to be pure. In fact, I have met people who are on the deathbed and they request that before dying they should be washed once. They should be given pure clothes to wear. So it's almost like an inborn instinct to be pure. But shaucham here represents another kind of shaucham, the shaucham of your mind. You see, as you go through life, as you go through the ups and downs of relationships, you shall find that so many things are emerging in the sky of your mind. Insecurity, jealousy, hatred, fear towards others. All of them start settling into the crevices of your mind. And they won't go away until you cleanse your mind. They're going to stay forever. On top of that, because you're an eternal being, this mind will travel with you to the next lifetime. All of this will go with you. So I will teach you a practice today where every night and every morning you purify your mind. It's very important. It's all virtual, but virtual stuff can become pretty dense unless you run a virtual cycle on it. Not only hatred, anger, and loathing another, but even deeper uncleanness comes from self-condemnation, constant shaming of ourselves, non-stop guilt. I'm not good enough. I'm a loser. I don't deserve. You know why this is so terrible? Because the Vedas says you should not condemn yourself. Because you are that amazing self. You are an amazing being. You are Atma, your soul. You can never be sinful. What has happened because of your reflection in the body and mind through the ego. There is room for everybody to learn and grow. Even the darkest and most terrible criminal need not go into a cycle of self-condemnation. Instead, needs to move towards knowledge and understand that eternally pure, eternally deserving, eternally wonderful being inside you, which is yourself, your sovereign self with a capital S. And once you understand that, once that condemnation ends, which is just a waste of energy. Has any of you benefited from self-condemnation? In fact, it's just a convenient way out. Let me just fret and be mad with myself. Instead of doing that, when you do Shocham, you purify yourself even of that. Then there is space to learn new ways. Join a global classroom, attend Satsang, contemplate on new ways, and guide your ego self, which is known as the Jiva or the shadow in you, like a gentle, understanding parent or teacher would guide a child or a student. Imagine coming to your teacher and the teacher just says, "You're so terrible, you're so horrible, you're so pathetic, you go stand outside, you just stand on one leg and punish yourself." Then where is the room for anything? Might as well we all just, lie down in a fetus position and just cry ourselves to death. Because all human beings are making those mistakes, because that is part of the spiritual setup. There is a part of you that's learning, and there is a part of you that can be the teacher. So stop condemning the learning part. Stop calling it names. Stop shaming it. And instead, bring it in closer and purify your mind from other condemnation and self-condemnation. All these negative things, despair, resentment, depression, all of this, they create ashaucham or uncleanliness of your mind. Okay. So, those ragas and the dveshas, I like this, but I dislike that. I want this, but I don't want that. I want things to work out this way, but not that way. Oh, I like those people, but don't show me that face of that person. Oh, dear me, the smudge of envy and the splash of insecurity, yeah? And the streak of melancholy and the dust of pride. Do you need all this? Do you need this? All of this is settling into your mind on a 24/7 basis. Can you imagine what your mind feels like? It needs to hear about the need to actually cleanse your mind. You all have laptops. You all purge the laptop of unnecessary files. You all cleanse your smartphones of unnecessary open windows. But do you think about purifying your mind, which actually we human beings can do simply by auto-suggestion 2 times a day, if not every moment? Your mind is like an open sky. If there are too many dark clouds, the beautiful radiance of your inner soul, your inner sun shall not come through. But if your mind is like the open sky, then beautiful pink colors and orange colors and marigold colors and all of those beautiful joyous colors of creativity, of radiance, of not pride but proud self-celebration. Those kind of rainbows will be everywhere. So it's your choice. The thing is, your path to joy, your path to wholeness, your path to well-being is also through the same mind. It's not like you can order another mind for your spiritual journey and then order another mind to deal with that same world and those same people and the same you. It's the same mind. So it's for you now that as you go through the world on a daily basis, even to benefit from knowledge from a teacher who's willing to meet with you and share with you the authentic knowledge, to be able to find places to assimilate it, hear it, assimilate it, and contemplate it and convert it into an emotional conviction, you need a pure mind. But oh, those streaks and smudges and dusts of encounters of the virtual kind have taken over your mind. What are you going to do? What are you going to do? So, just like you maintain a daily external cleanliness, every one of you is on a spiritual path, then why not let go of this false identification that you have with your jiva, with your ego? Literally, you can observe it like a parent would observe a child, a toddler. The toddler went and stuck their hands in soup. Let's wash their hands. The toddler went and, ate from the trash. Let's make them gargle and clean their mouth and give them fresh milk to drink. So toddler is doing silly things, foolish things, and toddlers getting scared of just anything. But as a parent, you know that what the toddler is fearing is not worth fearing. So when you come to your teacher, the teacher enables your parent self, then you go back and look after your toddler self. Stop condemning it. Love it. Love the learning part of you. Show it the way. Give it satsang. Give it jnana. So, yad bhavam tad bhavati, say the Upanishads, which means as you think, so you shall become. So you will have to watch your thoughts on an ongoing basis. What am I thinking? What am I thinking right now? Because these thoughts are going to become your words. Believe me, no word spoken is random. If you've been thinking about somebody privately in your mind, what a loser, what a loser, what a loser, and you think you're doing it privately, one day the word loser shall come out of your mouth. That word loser is writing thousands of private thoughts. And that one thought became a word and it became public. So therefore, watch your thoughts because they become words. Keep speaking, keep saying, I'm a loser, they're a loser, world is difficult, this is hard, that is there. And then watch your words because your words will become actions. You will start behaving that way. Your actions will show whether you fear the world or are you playing in the world. Your actions will show whether you are trustworthy and you trust others or not. Your actions will show what you were thinking a long time ago, which became words, words became actions. And watch your actions because they become habits. It's not a one-time action. Every action has the potential of becoming a habit because the mind simply likes to be on an auto-repeat button. Do you know that? And then watch your habits, for they become character, say the Upanishads. And watch your character, for your character becomes your destiny. That is why all of this is happening in the field of your mind, known as manas in Sanskrit. In the field of your mind, yad bhavam tad bhavati. Therefore, to be able to think the thoughts that I want to lead you towards thinking. If you thought thoughts, wait a minute, I am enough. Wait a minute, I am fully supported by the universe. Wait a minute. This so-called obstacle must surely be a door that's leading me to where I need to go. If these are your thoughts, your words will become positive and hopeful. Even when you speak them, you are hearing them. Your actions will become courageous instead of procrastinating and feeling powerless. Your courageous actions will make a character out of you which believes in spiritual newness and spiritual enterprise, the enterprise of self-recreation. And because of that, your destiny will be one who achieves their goals, both material and spiritual. So therefore, Shaucham is critical. Shaucham is not just something you do on the side or you don't. All you really have is your mind. You don't have the money in the bank. You don't have those relatives you think you can bank upon, because everything in this realm is impermanence. Anything can happen. Banks can fail, earthquakes can happen. Those relationships that you bank upon, they suffer from 3Ds, distance, disease or death. Anything can happen. But what you have is your mind. What you have, the only treasure you have is your mind. So if there is one value that you want to adopt, is then to be super caretakers and finicky about your mind. What are you holding on in your mind, and what are you willing to release on a daily basis? Because it doesn't deserve to be in my crown. If you were kings and queens, which you are, by the way, Upanishad says that you're a sovereign master, not meant to be a slave of this world, seducing you with its temptations, ephemeral temptations. If you are a king or queen, would you just put anything up on your head, or would you only want to wear a crown with jewels? The head is really important. The mind is really important. What do you want to put in your mind, and what do you want to cleanse? It all is Shaucham. So there are a couple of ways that you can purify your mind. One of them is known as Pratipaksha Bhavana. I do this all the time. You see, there is a part of me that is learning, that is growing. And you might say, well, Shunya, this is my first satsang. I've never really, heard Vedic wisdom before. You have students who've been with you for so many decades. I'm just brand new. I don't even know if I have a teacher side and a learning side. I just feel like I don't know anything. I'm confused. Not true. There is an inner voice that whispers to you the right thing. You just didn't listen to it. If you became quiet, tell me. Write, yes, I heard that voice in the comments. There was a voice that guided you. Whether you should be acting out right now or not, whether you should be forgiving or not, whether you should be being cold with a person or not, whether you should be eating a certain food or not. Even before eating that extra spoonful of dessert, there is a voice which says, stop. So dharma or guidance is really not outwardly imposed. It's actually the lifestyle of the spirit. It is actually the way you would automatically begin living were you in connection with your own true self. It's just that the Vedas have to remind us because we have forgotten. We're so busy because we gave the steering wheel of our life to the toddler. We watch you where we're going. Watch out, get out of our way. Our toddler's driving our car. Oops, we bumped here. Oh no, accident. 911. That's our life. But why not you let the little toddler be on the side seat and you start listening to your deep inner voice? It will always be a win-win voice. Even if it's a voice that says, I shall not forgive the other person. As Krishna advised Arjuna, do not necessarily give away your forgiveness because sometimes in punishment, the other person benefits or learns or awakens to their spiritual truth. So it's not about being goody two shoes or being holy. It's about wholeness. And wholeness is your nature, say the Upanishad. They say that one of your characteristic of yourself, which is Atma. Atma comes from Apanoti iti sarvam Atma, that which is boundless. Atma is Purna. It has Purnatvam, it's wholeness. It's Anantam, it's infinite. It is full of joy, Anandam. It is equanimous and peaceful no matter what the toddler is going through. It enjoys samatvam, radical equanimity. So there are two parts of you. And in Pratipaksha Bhavna, when the toddler starts thinking some thoughts, that is when your default mind just starts entertaining some thought, you the adult, want to immediately question that thought and then probably think an opposite thought. An example. I am from India. I come from a climate which is very warm and it's sunny all the time, and it rains only in summer. So it's actually very welcome, and the monsoons are, it's warm, sunny, and it's raining. So it's very romantic and romance, a divine romance is happening. There's greenery, there are birds, and it's beautiful. When I came to California, I found out that it's cold and it's raining. So the first thought my mind decided, the toddler mind decided, was, oh, we're going to get really depressed in this cold and dark, rainy weather. Pratipaksha Bhavna from the adult in me was, but it's perfect. If this is the divine setup, then this is the right rain for California, and this is the right weather for me, who Ishvara, the divine allness, has ensured that I live in California. This is perfect. And now it is one of my favorite seasons. I think it's cozy, it's beautiful, it's warm, everything is green, everything is being nurtured. But I could have developed a whole story around how I'm from India, this is terrible, this is a trauma, there's something wrong with the universal intelligence, it should really have not put cold and wet together, it should only be hot and wet together, the way it's back home. And that is how the toddler complains and whines and comes out it becomes really unhappy and dissatisfied with what is. Pratipaksha Bhavna is our responsibility, if we are a true spiritual seeker, to question any thought that has a charge. Hey, you're feeling thirsty, you have a thought like, I'll go drink a cup of water. You don't have to question, really? Do you really want to drink water? That's wasting your spiritual energy. Go drink your water. What I'm talking about is any thought that is capsizing your inner equanimity, your inner joy, your inner hope, your inner enoughness, your inner contentment, then question that thought, question it, and replace it with an opposite thought. That is how it helps. I knew a public speaker once, and the public speaker was quite well known. But the public speaker shared with me, Shunya, you don't know this, and the world doesn't know this, but half hour before I go out and speak to the world, my heart starts thudding really fast. I can't even, I'm very nervous. So, oh no, this is a situation. Oh no, I confirmed it. I have anxiety, and they had a lot of data to support their misery 30 minutes before they went on to the crowd. But once they were on the stage, they were floating. They were doing fine. So I taught this person Pratipaksha Bhavna. And I said, when this inner thudding and discomfort starts happening, and you start thinking, I'm losing it, I'm powerless, I'm anxious, question it, replace it with another thought. And the thought was, no, I'm not powerless. I'm not anxious. Oh, please, the toddler wants to just do some drumming inside me. I'm fine, because right afterwards, I'm going to have the audience eat out of my hands. That power is still inside me. I'm just having some fun with this. And literally, by that person challenging those thoughts around anxiety and fear of public speaking and all kinds of psychological, convictions that person had, like, I don't deserve to be a speaker, but I am a speaker. I'm like, you deserve everything. Why don't you use Pratipaksha Bhavana? So we have to do that on an ongoing basis, especially with thoughts that go against our eternal sovereign nature. You are Atma, you are spirit, you happen to have a body and mind. You are aware of your body, so therefore you are the awareness, you are not the body. You are aware of your thoughts and mind, therefore you are the awareness that is aware of the thought and minds, you are not the thought. So therefore, do not be bullied by the mind. Instead, challenge it and change the mind literally by thinking a new thought. Anybody who has tried to do that, and anybody who has done it even once, is amazed at how quickly the mind gets changed and starts behaving the way you want it to behave. This is the key, my dear. In the Vedic tradition, you are being told that you are the sovereign master of the situation. The reason for your sorrow is that you have given away your power to your own toddler, to your own equipment, to your own shadow, which is the body and mind. It is taking power from you. You are the source of life. You are enlivening the body and mind, you as in the self, as in the Atma. But now you think you have no power. It's a case of forgetting. It's like I giving one of my students all my money, saying, here, you keep it. And, I'll take it from you when I need it. And the next day I have amnesia. I forgot that I have given the student my money. So now if I want to even buy a glass of water, I can't. Now I have to beg and cajole and please and if the student frowns or is looking a little moody, I can't even ask. We're afraid of our own mind. We're terrified of our own body symptoms. And here I am as a teacher who has started a whole revolution around my own students, literally ordering their mind to do their bidding and telling their body, not now, calm down with those symptoms and get me back into health, because I deserve a first-class journey through life. And that is our birthright. We are the children of immortality. We are immortal beings. But we have forgotten the whole spiritual journey of the Vedic Upanishadic path is of unfathomable power, soul power. It's not just about feeling good, feeling peaceful, Hari Om, Hari. It's not about that. It's not just about, let me have a little bit of peace so I can be a nice mom and a nice dad and a good employee. All that is just shifting things around to buy some more peace, to buy some more time. This is about radical discovery of who you are. If you're interested, stay on. If you're not, if you just want some feel-good, little bit of, here, teach me a little mantra that's going to sort out all my problems, and I'm not that teacher. If you want to learn painting, you're not going to just buy a box of crayons, will you? If you want to be the painter the world remembers, then you have to become a painter that the world remembers. You have to find your inner painter. You have to find your inner Ribhuvananda, that mystical painter who's full of joy and is painting. This whole universe lives inside you too. Find that painter. Find that inner infinity, that Ananta in you. Then go back and be the employee, be the dad, be the mom, be the soccer coach, be the person who has a business, a shop, a butcher. Doesn't matter. Because all that then is playtime. Shaucham tells you, take care of your own mind. It's just your own equipment. Don't let those thoughts become your reality. Question every one of them, especially the ones that take you down the slippery slope. Ask, question, challenge. Sometimes when I challenge my thoughts, I realize that's a very important thought, and then I sit with it. But other thoughts, they get challenged. Then I shall share with you what Baba shared. That first thought is okay, don't worry if your first thought is terrible, because they come from your swabhava, prakriti, or your inborn nature. thoughts of selfishness, thoughts of being self-absorbed, thoughts of making quick money, thoughts of something that are not necessarily where you want to go. But your journey is not dependent upon your first thought. The Veda says, have your first thought. Your whole journey, from thought to word, word to action, action to habit, habit to character, character to destiny, is dependent upon your second thought. So do not, if you have a lusty thought, a non-dharmic thought, an unethical thought, don't think you're a bad person. This may be just residue from so many past lifetimes of what you heard on the television or something like that. But you dare to think a designer's second thought will change your destiny. That's what it is. Oh, I'm just depressed. Oh, I think I just need some rest and then I will be fine. I have always been defeated. I have been learning every single time. Really, let me give myself credit. What I call defeat is really amazing ability to confront the darkness. Look who I have become. Let me celebrate who I am. This is the way to think. The cleansing meditation at night, become like the sky. Close your eyes. Let me lead you through it. I am the vast sky, an infinite expanse. There are no boundaries to me. I dwell in a body, I use a mind, but neither the body nor the mind circumscribe me. Unnecessarily, I don't need to be squeezed into this body or mind. Thank you, body and mind, for letting me use you through this life story. But really, I am vast and endless, infinite like the sky. My consciousness is ever expanding. In that, I can play, be and become what I want. I am right now recharging my own body and mind by first purging it of all the virtual bits and bytes of energy, negative or positive, that have become attached to my vast net. I let it all go. It is all floating away. I remain the infinite awareness. I am content unto myself. Things may come, things may go. I am complete unto myself. I am radical peace, even if externally there is difficulty, there is strife. My peace, my decision to be peaceful depends on me because my nature is peace. This peace is not borrowed even through meditation. In meditation, you only manage to connect to who I am. I am peace. It need not be borrowed through negotiation or through any kind of mediation. My nature is peace. I am that vast, eternal existence. I have no boundaries. I carry no stuff. I am pure. I am clean. My name is Nirmala, Vimala. I am that lotus that is blooming in pure consciousness. Every morning when I wake up, I am that pure lotus. Every night when I sleep, I am that pure lotus. I am pure because that is my nature. Niranjana, blemishless. I am an ancient being, Sanatana, eternal Nitya, forever sovereign Mukta. I have done nothing, so therefore nothing sticks with me. Akarta Bhokta. That is who I am. I am vast like the sky, pure, cloudless, where the rays of my inner sun are pouring forth, delighting me, shining everywhere, Blessing everyone. Om.
Welcome to Acharya Shunya's teachings on the Bhagavad Gita. The most renowned of all ancient Vedic texts, the Bhagavad Gita's 700 verses have spread far beyond the borders of India to influence key world figures, including Carl Jung, Albert Einstein, Ralph Waldo Emerson, Mahatma Gandhi, and Dr. Albert Schweitzer, to name a few. And now, with Acharya Shunya, who has grown up with the Gita in her lineage and lives its divine message in her daily life, you too have the opportunity to apply its incredible wisdom to enjoy both material and spiritual success. You can also join a live verse-by-verse text study of the Gita by signing up at www.vedicaglobal.org. And now, welcome Acharya Shunya.
Welcome back. The context of Bhagavad Gita is very important. As you know, it is happening in the middle of a war. And Arjuna, who is a soldier, and he is meant to be proceeding with what he has to do, overcome his enemy, becomes overcome with emotion and seeks guidance from Krishna as to what to do. So the war is really metaphorical for the conflict situations that we all deal with. It's called Kim Kartavya Vimurta in Sanskrit. What should I do? Should I do this? Should I do that? What should I do? We think of so many options and we get really trapped in that. It's a kind of a virtual prison where we don't know where to proceed because we see pros and cons and we only want what's right for us. We don't want to deal with any sorrow, any losses whatsoever, and we only want the best possible scenario. And so we, due to our attachments, we are, really stuck. So Bhagavad Gita presents a universal problem. What is that universal problem that's actually presented in the first chapter? And then the remaining 17 chapters, Lord Krishna provides a solution or addresses that problem. So what is that universal problem? And for which chapter 3 also has certain solutions that we shall be exploring as we keep going forward. So the universal problem is that, which is known as Raga. Raga is emotional or psychological dependence or attachment to something positive, anything that gives us security, makes us feel better, or we think it's a preferred outcome. So we have that sometimes, So to understand Raga, it would be really helpful to juxtapose it to what is love, attachment versus love. Love is known as prema. So Raga and prema are not two different things. The way human thinks they are the same. So when we have Raga, when we are attached, for us to feel good, for me to be happy through whatever next steps, we become selfish. We may not announce it, but we're only thinking about ourselves, really. Whereas in pure love, it's not about just me. It's not about that. It's definitely not that. It's more about, sure, me, but it's also about the other person. But when it's Raga, we're only thinking about me. The toddler, only the toddler consciousness is there, and the toddler is only like me, mine. And then the second thing is that when we're attached, in a state of Raga, we get into this holding, possessing mode. We don't want to let go. So if we have Raga, even with our 98-year-old parent who's clearly ready to go, we make it about ourselves and our loss, and I'll be an orphan now, and I'll be parentless, and oh no, I will have to go through so much. So we make it all about ourselves because we can't let go, even if that letting go might serve another person or might serve the whole planet. We can't let it go because when we are in that attached mode, we really want to hold on to a physical object or to a virtual object of our fascination. Whereas when there is prema or love, it's not about hoarding, possessing at any cost. We will let go or we will receive. It's not a controlling behavior. It's what is right. There is some judiciousness, there is some concern, there is some greater care here. And then raga, so there may be some sacrifice also where there is love, but there is no question of sacrifice here. You stay alive and you stay alive for me because I cannot let go, for example. Then when there is attachment, it's always conditional. It's like this, it should work a certain way, otherwise I let go. So when we have attached love, for example, it's like, you better take me out every Friday night to the best restaurant maybe, or, XYZ. Otherwise, it's very conditional. We have our list of things that we want things to go our way. But in love, we often see unconditionality. Often we understand that the other human being may not be able to meet everything, all our lists. It's fine to have expectations, but there is there is margin for error. There is margin for not being able to deliver everything the way we want it. So the toddler ego is not so bombastic around, here are the 10 things and you better meet them. So it's more like, here are my 10 things. It's great you could meet the 5. I know you're working on it. I understand, and I will meet you halfway to accommodate. Accommodation is also a value known as kshantir in the Vedas. So it's the accommodation of the other person's humanhood, the other person's vulnerability, the other person's hardwiring or incapacity. Sometimes somebody may be married to a person who's very romantic and can talk very seductive language, and somebody may be married to someone who wants to love but can't speak it. So the other person, if they love, they can accommodate the person. But if they're attached, they'll say, you don't give me romantic words, so I'm leaving you. And make it about themselves and their drama. So the intellect is very clouded when we are attached, when there is raga. And a clouded intellect or a clouded mind, we tend to violate dharma. What is dharma again? Remember, it's set in a voice, or it's the voice of the Veda. Veda represents the soul's voice. And so we violate all kinds of ethical agreements, spoken or unspoken, because we are clouded, because we are just only living for ourselves. Whereas when there is love, then, the intellect is not clouded, and then you do what it takes. And no matter what you do, somewhere it would have the benefit of maximum number of people. So that's what it is. So the problem here is the universal problem that the Bhagavad Gita is presenting for us, for which we'll all learn and we can identify with it, is a equation where raga, and we all suffer from that. We all have our private attachments of things going a certain way, and each one of you can think about what is your private raga. It will invariably lead to what is known as shoka, or psychological flatness, or depression, or worry, or frustration, or disappointment, and even a sense of feeling violated or shocked because you had raga for getting a certain kind of job or an award or a recognition, or a certain person probably asking you out on a date, or asking you for your hand in wedding. So when that didn't go that way, you are all set up for shoka. And this is a universal problem. And raga leads to shoka. Unfortunately, whatever you are psychologically leaning upon, Bhagavad Gita wants to remind us, is impermanent, because you are seeking, you who is permanent has forgotten that permanence lives inside you, and you are seeking for permanence, a pact of permanence in the realm of impermanence. How terrible is your situation? So you are not prepared to deal with things not going there. You might, therefore, so Vedanta or Bhagavad Gita wants to ask you, what is your preparation to face potential losses and things not going your way? Because just because you're attached to your husband behaving a certain way, your son growing up and doing a certain job, or your daughter-in-law showing you a certain deference, doesn't necessarily mean you're going to get what you're attached to. Of course, you can believe in all kinds of strange things like, you can attract what you want. It just actually ultimately increases more attachment and attachment and attachment, because you don't attract what you want, you get what you need for your evolution. Maybe the daughter-in-law being a bit rude, or her son not following a certain path, or a partner not being in your life long enough is maybe what you need for your soul's evolution. So you can't just read a book and start attracting everything to work your way. That's just, just spinning into more of that delusion around you deserve, the world to be everything perfect. You're already perfect inside, and whether the world is perfect or not is Bhagavad Gita's message. Whereas all the other books are trying to necessarily say, no, that's okay. The world just forgot, the universe forgot, just give reminders to the universe, and a little angel will come and drop the perfect son and the son-in-law and the daughter, and best of luck, because, billions of copies are sold, but everybody's still busy attracting, that's for sure. But some people are at peace with whatever has manifested. So I'm not against you buying any book. I'm just letting you know what's the truth. So in this loka, in this planet, we have unequal endowments, but they look unequal, but they are equal. We are all getting what our soul needs. Our Atma needs to remember who it is. The outer life situation is just a setup. So Raga leads to Shoka, and because it leads to a clouding of your mind and intellect, it ultimately leads to the worst thing possible, which is known as Moha or Mohaha. You become delusional. You start suffering from delusionary setup. You become proud, or you say, I'll make it happen at any cost, and I'm going to fight with the world and change the situation. And you start, it's a vicious cycle, and you become intense and angry, and you have a chip on your shoulder, and the world says, look at you go, wow, you're so passionate, you're gonna go for your goals, but you're actually slowly getting more and more insane inside you, because you could not accept what had manifested in pure existence. You just couldn't accept that in your house, the marigolds are blooming and not the roses. You want roses on the marigold bush. You're going to make it happen. You believe in the human spirit and the human ego and the human champions, and you're going to quote a couple of people. That's all fine. I'm not telling you not to be an entrepreneur in life. All I'm saying is, if you got marigolds, maybe everything you ever needed will come from those marigolds. Right there. Because it's not about the marigolds. It's about you being calm in spite of the marigolds, because in that calmness, you'll connect with something inside, where everything lives. Marigolds, roses, lotuses, and all. So the thing is, Raga leads to Shoka, leads to Moha, and because of Moha, we start behaving in a very strange manner, and we even confuse Dharma with Adharma. So here was this great soldier, renowned in the world, and because he saw two people in the opposite army that he was attached to, that he did not want to be responsible for their blood on his hand, he even says to Krishna, it's fine, I don't want to go for war, I can even ask for bhiksha, I can beg and make a living, but I won't go fight this righteous war, which after 13 years of meditation, contemplation, he had arrived upon the decision that this war is the dharmic thing to do, because this is not for my little ego, for my toddler. It's me, the parent self, leading forward in the war, which is going to rid this planet of this narcissistic, dysfunctional, demonic personality called Duryodhana and his army, and it will bring much more peace to the planet. The women will be much more safe, and I would have lived up to my swadharma, or my soul propensity, or my promise of what I have offered to the people of my kingdom, which is to protect them, because after all, I'm a soldier and that's my duty. Instead, no, I'll just go away. I will even beg. I will become a spiritual mendicant. I will disappear in the forest. So he was having all these thoughts which were really very confusing. They were not right for him. Was he even ready to beg? This is what we do. When we get attached, when we have raga, we can't deal with things not going a certain way or attachment not coming through. So then we have shoka. And because of that sorrow, frustration, unhappiness, self-pity, lamentation, victimhood, we go into a state of overdrive and delusion. And in that delusion, we may or may not be listening to the inner whisper, which says, Arjuna, go to war. Fight the war for the sake of dharma. Yes, there may be a loss of some people that you're attached to, but that's collateral damage. Just like in your own life. Speak your truth to your boss or to your spouse or to your parent. Yes, there may be some collateral damage. They may stop speaking to you for a while, but you still have to go to war. You still have to do the right thing because it's right. And what is dharmic, what is right for maximum number of people all the time. This planet is a better planet because of the war of Mahabharata. So therefore, the universal problem is raga, shoka, moha, and the answer to that was provided by Lord Krishna in the form of a teaching called Jnana Yoga. The path, the contemplative path of knowledge. It is called Jnana Yoga. By the way, this Jnana Yoga is taught after a preliminary yoga is taught, which is known as Karma Yoga. And Lord Krishna teaches both these paths in chapter 2, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga. But Lord Krishna speaks very highly of Jnana Yoga, very highly of Jnana Yoga. In fact, Jnana Yoga is also known as Sankhya Yoga. Sankhya here doesn't mean numbers, Sankhya here means truth. And the teachings of the Bhagavad Gita in chapter 2 are very important from verse 11 to 25, which I have taught in other videos that you can find. And the gist of that is, Lord says, Arjuna, you are lamenting and weeping because you have forgotten who you are. You are not that toddler. You are not that body and mind. So stop worrying about the body and mind of the two people you are attached to who are family members. One was a guru, one was his grandfather. And he says, look, here's who you are. You are pure consciousness, Chaitanyam, Chittarupa. You are pure consciousness. And this consciousness is not part of your body. It is not a product of your body. Unlike what the Western scientists say that a couple of chemicals got together and awareness happened. It's not like that. It's your pure consciousness. This consciousness is not a part of this body. It is not a product of this body or a property of this body. It has no connection with the body. It's just utilizing the body. When it needs another one, it will change the garment and take on another body. So this consciousness, which is not a part, product or property of the body, it's a completely swatantra. It is an independent entity. That is who you are. You are independent of your body. So those people also, that is pure consciousness, independent of the body, which pervades and enlivens the body, but it is not circumscribed by the body. These are the two parts. The first is part of the body, property or product, and the second part is it's completely independent. The third thing is that though this consciousness that you are, who you are yourself, it is pervading the whole body and the mind, but it is not limited by the boundaries of this body and mind. You are not limited by it. And the fourth point is that even if this body ends, you consciousness shall continue to survive even after the body collapses, decays. So therefore, this is the gist of Jnana Yoga. And Lord says that when you don't know this, when you think you're a perishable entity, when you think that all these their bodies are perishing, but the real self, of your guru and your grandfather. It is immortal, it is imperishable. Every being has a perishable and an imperishable part. Because you're so focused on the perishable, so therefore you're lamenting for what is perishable. But if you knew about the imperishable, which I am telling you, then you shall have faith in the imperishable, and then you shall simply go to war, because that is the logistical thing to do. That is the right thing to do. You will go not because of perishable and imperishable question. You shall go because of dharma and adharma. You will focus on what is the right thing. Then it becomes like a magic show, a play. And you do what is the right thing. You do the right script. But even if characters die in that play or in that theater, afterwards they'll all come for their roll call, because everybody is ultimately, their true self is imperishable. Nobody really dies. Only the body dies, which is perishable anyway. But the truth is, so if you know this, there is no reason to grieve. You're crying for what is not worth crying for. Lord Krishna opens that section, in fact, by saying that even your lamenting is because of ignorance. You don't know this, so here is some knowledge, here is some Jnana Yoga. And in fact, then he goes on to even say that, people don't understand Jnana, they don't appreciate it. And sometimes with karmas, they just perform actions, they are chanting, they are doing rituals, they are doing all these, religious things in the form of karma, and that just leads to more karma bandhana, or it just leads to more bondage. Only knowledge can set you free. Only this knowledge of who you are can set you free. So this is the basic teaching. So Arjuna got very confused, because then he says, Arjuna Vacha, he says, Jayase cheta karmanaste matha buddhir janardana tat kim karmani ghore mam niyojayasi keshava. So he says, O Krishna, if self-knowledge is considered by you, the knowledge of the true self, is considered to be superior to action, to karma alone. Action means karma. Then why do you engage me in this, ghore mam, this really cruel action, because I'll be shedding the blood of so many, including the ones I'm attached to. So why are you asking me to shed this blood? Why? Why are you doing that? It's a question. And, I personally feel that this question represents the kind of question we ask our teacher. Why do I have to stay employed? Why can't I just come live in your ashram, sit under a tree and just meditate? Going back in the world through that traffic, dealing with that terrible supervisor, and oh my God, you don't even know what my mother-in-law is like, or what my sister-in-law says, or what the neighbor down the street, the way that person looks at me. That is all terrible. Why are you asking me to go back to the world of activity? Why can't I just go to a teacher, sit down, meditate, and achieve self-knowledge? That is really how we look at it. So, then he continues, and he says, Vyami shreneva vakyena buddhim moho yasiva me tadekam vada nischatya yena shreyo hamapnuyam. So he says that those seemingly conflicting, they seem to me, like they are conflicting. You are as if confusing my intellect. You're confusing me. Should I go towards the path of Jnana Yoga or Sankhya Yoga, which typically means go to a teacher, submit to a teacher, receive knowledge from them through your ears, shravanam, contemplate upon them, mananam, practice it, nididhyasanam. That's a whole different ball game. Whereas the path of Karma Yoga is stay in the world, rub your ego against the ego of other toddlers, try to awaken your inner parental ego, try to purify your mind through values like Shaucham, etc. This is a lot of work. That is Karma Yoga. So you are confusing me. Tell me definitely which one of these two by which I will attain the supreme good. I will attain a moksha. Moksha means attainment of my true nature, myself. So, it's very interesting. You can see how with Vinay or with humbleness, the student was complaining, but then he catches himself and he says, you are confusing my intellect ever, as if you were it's not that you are confusing me, it appears as if you are confusing me, but I'm confused on my own. So tell me definitely ekam tat, one of those two, yena, by which aham, I will attain, shreyaha, the supreme path, the supreme goal towards moksha. Moksha is the word we use for self-realization, but moksha comes from two Sanskrit words which means moha and kshaya. So the end of moha, you remember, raga, then shoka and moha. So the end of moha, kshaya means destruction. When that moha is destroyed, you become your true self. You're no longer in a delusionary state of mind. So he says, show me the path to moksha. So you are glorifying jnana, and then you are asking me to go for karma. So what are you really trying to say? So this is really wonderful, because if you think about it, there are opposites in the world, right? Should you sleep and rest? Should you work? Should you exercise? Should you meditate? Should you go for the spiritual path? Should you go for the material path, right? Should you be more introvert to reach your moksha? Should you be more extroverted? Because if you are just introverted, you may not know if you have reached moksha. It's only when you connect with the world, then you will know. So do you see this polarity is always there? There is this essential confusion in a seeker's mind. What should I do? What is the right path for me? And it's so interesting. The Vedas so represents our human journey that not now, but thousands of years ago, even prior to the Bhagavad Gita, the Veda had clarified these two paths. So let us look at Lord Krishna's response. So he says, Shri Bhagavan Uvacha, Lokyasmin dividha nishtha pura prokta mayanagha jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yoginam. So he says, O sinless one, anagaha. Anagha means, it's the name of Arjuna. He calls Arjuna by many names. Agha means impurity. And Anagha means sinless one, or pure one, because you have done shaucham. In this world, I have taught two disciplines. I have taught two disciplines have been initiated by me in the beginning of creation, which means when I gave the world the Vedas, because our understanding is that when this world came about, at the same time the Veda came about. So I have already given two disciplines, and in the beginning, even when I gave the Vedas, in the form of Jnana Yoga. So I have given Jnana Yoga in the form of two disciplines. What are those two disciplines? He doesn't state in this shloka, but this is where a teacher explains that the two disciplines are, one is known as Karma Yoga and one is known as Sankhya Yoga. And these two together make up Jnana Yoga. Karma Yoga is the path like where you purify your mind through values such as shaucham, by activating those values. And Sankhya Yoga is when in that pure mind you receive knowledge of your true self, where the teacher actually chants and expounds upon the Upanishads, where the secrets of your true self are there. And the belief is that when a pure mind, the vast pure sky, when that knowledge is received there, and there is no raga, shoka, moha operating in that mind, naturally it's a pure mind. And when such a pure mind receives the knowledge of who you are, the deepest memory of who you are gets activated and you remember who you are. It's that simple. And there afterwards, you live in the same world, the same house, in the same relationships, but you are an awakened being. You are a self-realized being. You are a jivana mukta. You are a free being. You are not bound in this world. You have achieved moksha. So really a clouded mind is just what is coming in the way of you remembering who you are, but deep down that memory is still there, because that's who you are. So when that cloud, that mind becomes pure through karma yoga, because you stay in the world and you basically do all your actions remembering the divine truth, the divine allness, Ishvara. So it's like you wash your hands and then you eat your food, right? If you simply wash your hands, will that fill your stomach? No. So karma yoga is like washing your hands, which prepare you to eat your food. Because in India we used to eat our food with hands. So we wash our hands first. So you wash your hands, or you make your bed, then you go to bed on it, right? So it's like a preparatory exercise. And then you go for Sankhya Yoga, where you receive the truth. And together, this is known as Jnana Yoga. But in the modern world, unfortunately, the interpretation is that these are two separate paths. And you can either stay on Karma Yoga for the rest of your life, because you are an active social person, and Jnana Yoga is too much for you. That is what is told. It's too high and dry, and it's for intellectuals. And if you are an intellectual, you skip Karma Yoga, because that's really too lowbrow for you, and you go for Jnana Yoga. You might have heard that. That is a very unfair interpretation. It is like breaking up a beautiful whole yoga into silos, so that people can choose. In fact, nowadays the new teaching is, if you are the spiritual kind, if you like God, go for Bhakti Yoga. If you are a very active person and you have too much ego, go for Karma Yoga. If you're an intellectual person and you like to chew on philosophy, go for Jnana Yoga. And if you're a physical person, you like to be robust, go for Ashtanga Yoga. So it's like, it's like a mall of yogas, and pick your yoga. But that's not the way the greatest teacher of yoga, Lord Krishna, taught it. He did not teach it that way. In fact, he says that both the yogas, Karma Yoga and Sankhya Yoga, belong to the one path, which is Jnana Yoga. And we are all born ayogya. None of us are worthy. Ayogya means we are not ready. We are not adhikaris. We are not qualified enough. That is why we all have to go through the path of Karma Yoga. So in Karma Yoga, I will be teaching you 2 attitudes that you can take on as you live in the world as a mom, dad, professional, doctor, engineer, so that you are less stressed and your mind is more pure. I taught 1 value, for example, Shaucham. I shall teach you many values that you can utilize to be in the world as a worldly being, but you are constantly purifying your mind. So even if you are doing a business, even if you are starting an enterprise to make money, even if you are getting married, even if you are raising children, even if you are bringing pets home, even if you are doing a non-profit, whatever you do in the world in Karma Yoga, you will do it for those reasons, but your biggest reason for doing what you do would be inner growth. Why are you getting married? You will tell your sister, oh, I'm getting married because it's time to settle down and have a baby. But inside you will know, I'm getting married for inner growth. Why are you doing this business? Oh, I'm doing the business because I'd like to earn a couple of extra $1,000 to send my child to college. That's what you tell the world. Internally you will know, I'll go through the ups and downs of business. I'll practice the 2 attitudes that keep me equanimous. And through that, I will have inner growth. Whether my son goes to college or not is secondary, or daughter goes to college. I will have inner growth is primary and confirmed if I am a Karma Yogi. So what Karma Yogi does is it teaches us 2 attitudes, which I shall expound later in upcoming global satsangs. And those attitudes, if you remember, while you go to work, commute to work, while you play out different roles in your life as husband, son, daughter-in-law, father-in-law, brother, buddy, friend, colleague, you shall stay equanimous through the ups and downs of life. And because the benefit would be Your mind will remain in a state of shaucham, because of which, when you go for Sankhya Yoga, you shall be able to receive the knowledge and remember who you are. And once you remember who you are in a state of Jivan Mukta or Moksha. Everything changes for you, and you start living from inner spiritual treasures of infinite joy, abundance, wholeness, and perfection. So that's the path. And it also teaches you 5 types of actions, so it's 5 types of relationships, so that when you approach that relationship, even if that relationship is giving you a certain challenge, you shall know how to approach that. So 5 types of relationships, worldly relationships, come under the purview of Karma Yoga. And Karma Yoga is mandated for every seeker except for an exception. And people in India and worldwide really like to quote Ramana Maharshi, a famous sage from India, who at the age of 17, realized that he was ready for moksha, and he left his home, and, he went to, he started meditating, and he achieved moksha. But there are always exceptions. But if we start teaching and we just quote the exception, then it is difficult. For example, there are genius mathematicians, there are genius linguistics, there are genius artists, and they don't need to go to any artist school, or math school, or linguistic school, and they write books on linguistics. But for the average person, for 99.9% of us, Karma Yoga is a very important journey, so that you stay in the world, in your relationships, and you just simply start inheriting a pure mind, because if you focus upon inner growth and utilization of those 2 designer attitudes and knowledge of those five types of relationships, which come as a package in the world as a worldly being. And once you know how to relate with them, already every night when you do the practice of Socham, you will still feel like, gosh, I was already quite pure when you take stock of your day. And when you do Shacham, you'll connect directly to the divine reality, to God, to that perfect supreme soul, where all that pure consciousness that's living in each one of us. So that's the promise of Karma Yoga. And there were 3 ways of approaching Karma Yoga also that Lord Krishna teaches. He says one way is, which is the ancient way, is first you are a grihastha or a householder. So you stay in in society, and you engage with the world, and you earn money, you raise children, etc. And then when you feel you've purified your mind enough, you're really having a beautiful, ready mind, then you leave your worldly roles and you approach a teacher, and then, some of your social obligations are taken away, and you then spend the remaining years of your life with your teacher studying Sankhya Yoga. And so this way you complete the Jnana Yoga 2-part path, and you emerge from the second part of your life with complete moksha or self-realization. So in the first part of your life with Karma Yoga, you self-actualize, and with Sankhya Yoga, you self-realize, and together this is the beautiful contemplative path of Jnana Yoga. This is one way. This is the old way, and we know of kings who left their kingdoms to go live with their teacher. But Lord Krishna says there are 2 more ways of doing it. Another way is that you directly go into the second stage known as sannyasa ashrama. You skip the grahastha ashrama, but then he says, probably if you've already perfected Karma Yoga in a past life, probably that is what Ramana Maharshi and some of the teachers did, they can do that. My own great-grandfather, who was the teacher of Baba, he took a resolve to serve society and do seva and teach the truth of the Upanishads, and let his body be an instrument for that. And at a very young age, under the age of 20, he took that sankalpa. But we are a householder lineage. There are 2 kinds of lineages, monastic lineages, householder lineages. So he was asked to take on a wife. So after begetting Baba, which is what he needed to do for this planet, 9 months, when Baba was only 9 months old, he became a widower. And thereafter, he just lived a life of a monastic person. And so he went very quickly from Karma Yoga into sannyasa ashrama. But he continued with, but even when you go into sannyasrama, certain karmas are there. But you can kind of directly go, or go very quickly. That's one path. So one path is you take your full time in grahastha ashrama, then you go. One is you directly go. And the third path that Lord Krishna is advocating and encouraging to all of us, because Arjuna was also a householder, and a bulk of us are householders, is stay a householder. Don't change anything externally. You don't have to do any change in your life. You're married, you have children, whatever, stay in society. But slowly, first your sadhana or your discipline would be more focused around karma yoga. And then you will know yourself that your mind is staying has equanimity, samatvam. It feels full internally. It's not running after the pleasures of the world to complete you. So you're dealing with purnatvam. You are empty, you have shunyata, and you have fullness, purnata, from within you. That emptiness is a divine emptiness. It's the lack of ego, shunyata. From that stage, you will yourself, the teacher will show up in your life when the student is ready. The teacher arrives. You shall recognize that teacher. This is my teacher. You will become stable. You will stop window shopping for teachers. You will stop, being so restless in your spiritual journey. A strange equanimity will come within you. You will become what is sthirita. You will become sthairyam is another value that I'll be teaching you next time, which is the next value after shaucham. Sthairyam, where you will become very stable in your spiritual journey, very content with what my teacher is teaching you is enough for me, and go deep with it. Your roots will go deep inside, and your Jnana Yoga journey will begin. While being a soldier, while being a nurse, while being a doctor, while being a fashion model, while being a mom, while being a bus driver, while being a pilot, while being in the military, while being a scientist. You can carry on, just like Lord Krishna did not say, okay, now that I have taught you Sankhya Yoga, Arjuna, take off your soldier clothes and wear some saffron clothes and come with me and shave your head, and now, by the way, you should become celibate and vegetarian, if not vegan, and grow some hair and have some dreadlocks, and nothing like that. Those are all things that you can do which are part of a lifestyle, but they should not determine your day-to-day reality. You can be who you are. So this path is Jnana Yoga, but the confusion in Arjuna was like, what should I do? What should I do? Should I just go towards the path of hearing the scriptures, sitting with a teacher, meditating non-stop, uninterrupted? Then who has the time to go to a war? Or should I go to the war and be bloodthirsty? And when I am trying to win that war, does it take me away from knowledge? Does it take me away from soul? Have I become a sinner? And Lord Krishna says, not at all. Not at all. If there is no choice, karma yoga to jnana yoga to moksha or mukti or nirvana, this is the route. There is no other route. Either go straight to the sannyasa ashram, the monastic ashram, or go from householder to monastic ashram, or stay in the household ashram and become a monk. So we are known as householder monks. I am, dear students from the whole world, today and in future who will be watching, a householder monk. We are known as Grihastha Sadhu tradition. And when my grandfather was spending a lot of time alone in the Himalayas, his teacher, his father, reminded him, come back and dare to find your Himalayas in the middle of your householder existence. And then you are a true monk. Then you have really, had a victory over your own clouded mind, over your own raga, shoka, moha. Because when you are in those pristine mountains, You don't experience anything. You don't know where your attachments are hiding in your unconscious. But it's really when you come out there, then you know. So this is how the problem is attachments. The solution is Jnana Yoga. Jnana means Jnanam, means the knowledge of the true self, but it is found through two sub-disciplines. One is known as Karma Yoga, the path of purification through strategic, intelligent, soulful, compassionate, dharmic engagement with the world, through which you purify your mind. And the second part of it is, after a purified mind, while living in the world, also make time, like you are making time now, to find a teacher, stick with a teacher, and become stable in the knowledge, so stable that one day, while the teacher is speaking to you, all the memory of who you are shall come back to you. Na karmena manarambhan naishkamyam purushoshnate na cha sannyasana deva siddhim samadhigacchati. By avoiding action, a person does not attain moksha. By mere renunciation also, one does not attain moksha. Don't be Arjuna in this extremist state of mind. Don't suddenly cut a one-way ticket to Nepal or India and think that somehow by renouncing your current challenges or opportunities or relatives or whatever package you have, you are somehow getting closer to self-realization or liberation. Similarly, by thinking that you can similarly be a dharmic person and not try to find a teacher and gain knowledge of your true self, you shall attain moksha. Because at the most, your resume will be, so and so is very dharmic. So and so has very dharmic organizations. So and so does a lot of dharma and goodness for animals and plants and people and ecology and the suffering people. But so and so, do you know who you are? Besides being the CEO of this or the founder of that or this and that, right? So Karma Yoga awakens us in the world. But Sankhya Yoga awakens us from this world. Dharma teaches us how to be peaceful amidst the ups and downs and joys and sorrows of the worldly plane. Knowledge of the self tells you who you are, irrespective of which plane you are existing in. And that knowledge, known as Sankhya Yoga, or together known as Jnana Yoga knowledge, has to be received from a teacher. It has not to be read. That is why the Vedas were not a read tradition, but a heard Shruti tradition. There is some connection between your ear and activation of the inner memory. It has to be heard. Afterwards, you can read a book on the Gita, of course, but if you can hear it also, it has a different effect. Then you contemplate upon it, and then you practice it. If I am the Supreme Soul, how do I drive my car? If I am the Supreme Soul, how do I do my laundry? If I am the Supreme Soul of this universe, how do I deal with difficulties? That is how you practice this knowledge. And this shall lead you to who you are. And that state of moksha is the end of all delusions, all ignorance, all limitations which are self-imposed due to ignorance. You are a boundless being. You will live with unbounded joy, energy, creativity. You will start playing. Life will not be a burden anymore. Most of us, when we meet each other, we say, what's going on? Life. We talk like that. Life. It's one word. It's a code word. All human beings know. Life. It means, for me, life, jivana, is a burden. That is why the Vedas say, okay, then be free of this burden. Jivana muktaha. Because you are a nityam, you are always free. In ignorance, you became burdened because you got caught up with Raga, Shoka, Moha. Let us teach you how to be free of this Moha. Let us teach you how to be free of attachments. Then without attachments you shall move. You shall become a role model for the rest of the world, as Lord Krishna says. And by the way, karma yoga, students do. Why? Because they have to purify their mind. But gurus also do. There is no guru, no traditional guru. No, traditional doesn't mean necessarily with clothes, etc. But tradition means one who follows the path, the scriptures, the shastra. No traditional guru will say, I've stopped doing karma yoga, or I've stopped following karma yoga. Why? Because the disciple does it to purify their mind, and the guru or the master does it to be a role model. So our work doesn't end because we have awakened. Our work has begun because we want everyone to awaken, everybody to enjoy their inner truth, and everybody to stop being so terrified and bullied by their own ego toddler. Really, wake up and smell the Vedic coffee. Now, think, close your eyes even for one moment. When you dare to challenge your mind and say, we're not doing that. We're not thinking that. And that's not even true. Stop making me a victim. I am that supreme power. And I have enough room in me to accommodate a lot of people's ignorance. And even take on a few people's ignorance if that is what Dharma needs. But nothing is going to come between me and my unbounded nature. My right to be joyful, my right to be healthy, my right to be original, my right to be creative, my right to even make errors, my right to learn, my right to be an inner guru, my right to know whether I'm sleepwalking through my life or have I finally awakened. Dear students, I can tell you, I was once sleepwalking. I have awakened. You can too. Thank you.
Namaste, everyone. My name is Aparna Amy Lewis, and welcome to everyone. I see we have quite a few people online. Several people have asked questions, Shunya, and we'll start with one at the very end. A student asked if every individual, does every individual have a teacher or guru in physical form to guide them?
According to the Vedic tradition, a guru has to be in physical form. A guru cannot be a photo. The photo can be an inspiration of a previous guru. So if the guru is not in physical form, then they are definitely an inspiration. Like the rishis are not in their physical form, but they have left the Vedas for us, so they are an inspiration. But a guru is one who can talk to you, answer you, look at your doubts, and at times even scold you, like Lord Krishna scolded Arjuna. At times pat your back. But it's not such a personal relationship of scolding and patting back. It's always around knowledge. Where are you going? Don't look this way, that way. What you believe to be your greatest truth is really just your ego pretending to be a truth speaker when it's really just following its own attachment. So according to the Vedic tradition, dear student, there is always a teacher in a living form. Is there everybody going to get a guru? Everybody. We are all in bondage. And we are all really one. We all share one common self. That Atma doesn't belong one each to one body. All of us may have separate bodies and minds, but we all have one common self. And when we become ready to be liberated, then it becomes the responsibility of the divine allness to provide us a master, a teacher, a guide who will not make us a slave, but remind us of your sovereign nature. And you shall be set free. And then that day you shall thank the teacher and you shall become a master and be asked to help others. So therefore this is a parampara, this is a trade, this is a chain. This is why I chant Narayana Samarambham Vyasa Shankaram Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. It all begins with Paramatma, the Supreme Soul. We call the concept of Supreme Soul comes from where each you and I have a separate self, but when that entire entity becomes one, that becomes God to us. It is nameless, formless, but dwells in every particle of this universe. That is Narayana, that one who lives in every being, every particle of this animate and inanimate universe. And through that divine inspiration, teachers like Vyasacharya and Shankaracharya, and then my Asmadacharya, my personal teacher, Shanti Prakash and Ayodhya Nath Acharya, and maybe myself to some other students, and maybe one day in this lifetime or another you to other students, you should have received that knowledge from a living teacher. Though the teachers who may have moved on, who have inspired you from other virtual realms, will also conspire to bring you face to face with a living teacher. You are not alone. And when you are ready, Lord Krishna has actually promised in the Bhagavad Gita, I shall come. Leave it to me to give you a teacher. You shall be shown the way home because you are very far away from your inner home.
Another student says, we seem to have many voices inside of us. How do we discriminate which is the voice of Krishna or God?
Excellent question, my child. Whoever you are, many blessings to you. This is an intelligent question, very intelligent question. That voice will not just be thinking of me, and mine. That voice will have inherent concern for another and the world. That voice will not be coming from attachment but from love. Wait till you hear one voice that also even has some consideration for the one you are angry with, even a tiny bit. Because you see, your toddler ego may say, this person hurt me, that person liked me, so all the people who I like come in this area, all the people who don't talk to me go in that area. It's busy making divisions. But your true self knows that even the people I ban to the other area of the planet, I have the same self with them. I just have some karmic teachings, learnings that I have to do with them. By the way, I'll be teaching about karma later too. So therefore, that innermost voice, it won't be desperate. It won't be just self-absorbed. It won't be a pushover either. It will be calm, it will be contemplative, and somehow, if you have 3-4 voices, there will be one voice which is the most fearless. And it's not pushy either. It just tells you the truth. And in that truth, Advaita, non-duality lives. It knows that just because you can kick someone because they are powerless today and you're righteously powerful, you may still not want to kick them because you and the one who offended you has the same self. You may. Arjuna was asked to kill the person who was evil, but not from bitterness, not from, oh dare you terrible person, I'm so good, you're so bad, but because it was, oh, you've forgotten your way, you've become a disaster for the whole universe, you've become a problem. So you will become a holy warrior. So I hope that helps you. Wait for that inner voice. And the teachings that I'm giving you, and I shall continue giving you, and soon we'll be populating this YouTube channel with more videos from my past several, almost decade-long teaching resume. So you'll be having a lot of teaching come your way. And as you do more and more shaucham, all the unnecessary egotistic voices will calm down and the voice of God shall speak through you.
And finally, this is one more question that came earlier that I think dovetails nicely with this is when you talked earlier about charged thoughts and how do we know there's a real impetus in today's modern culture to have passionate, feel passionately about your path. And how do we know, is it possible to be passionate about our Dharma? And how do we know when we're feeling passionate in a right way versus attached and too much raga?
Good question. I'm liking all the Arjunas in my global classroom. I'm going to be teaching you a concept about vasanas. So vasanas are the kind of desires. So there are legitimate desires and illegitimate desires. So I will teach you, why don't I teach you next time what are the legitimate desires? Remind me, what are the legitimate desires and what are the illegitimate desires? There's no point in being passionate about illegitimate desires. You will just destroy your health and you will somewhere be a burden on this planet. And just because you're passionate and just because you're excited and just because you have a couple of people who are cheerleading, you won't really take you anywhere. Because anywhere you try to go against the dharmic net of this universe, it won't work for you. So typically for now, until next time, I can say that illegitimate desires are those which seem to have an urgency and where you know that you might possibly hurt a few people. So there are 3 types of desires, just in a very broad campus I can tell you. There are the sattvic desires, they're known as sattvic or pure desires, which come after due shaucham. In that desire, when you desire something, say, I'd like to start a company. So that's a nice desire and I would like it to be taking care of the environment. Great. I'll make sure that everybody who works in it gets their due wages, if not more than normal, because I want everybody to have a beautiful, wholesome lifestyle from what I do. I will give myself some credit and good payment, but I will also make sure that right down to the smallest employee does really well. We will not evade taxes. We will bring strength to our nation. We will become a source of beneficence and happiness to so many thousands of people, and we will not make unethical products. That's a sattvic desire. And why have passion? The whole universe will co-conspire to have passion for you and help you if you have such level of purity inside you, you see. Then there is the rajasic, or rajas means agitated desires. In this, there is a lot of agitation, but there is also a lot of self-absorption. Me and my brother-in-law and my nephew, the 3 of us are going to have a little caucus, and we're going to take the maximum amount of money, and then I don't really care about the middle management because you can get them dime a dozen. And you know what? Now, thankfully, now that we have Trump, we don't really need to care about ecology or environment, so just forget about it. And we're just going to make products that look really good, but let's get those teenagers now. Yeah, let's sell those special e-cigarettes now. Things like that. We can get away with it because we don't want to hurt anybody, but we can get away with it. We don't want to hurt anybody necessarily, but can we get away with it? Can we find some loopholes? Can we help ourselves just a little bit more? I don't really want to know what's hurting other people. I just want to gratify me. So it's a very self-absorbed sense of endeavor. And yeah, you can put your passion, but usually you attract similar people, and sooner or later you burn each other out, burn bridges, you become alone, and that self-absorption doesn't take you very far. If nothing else, it also invites, heart attacks and strokes and blood pressure, because all that self-absorption leads to a tremendous intensity, and all that passion really leads to, burning out. You burn out. And more greed and more greed and more greed, and there's no end to it, so you're not really satisfied. And if somebody asks you how's the happiness index, and you don't feel really good, because selfishness, that spawning greed, makes you feel empty and discontent, not the spiritual emptiness like Shunyata, that melancholic, terrible emptiness where the worms of attachment, raga, shoka, moha are crawling all over your being. Then there is the third kind of desires, which is the absolute verse, which is tamas, where you know that you're going to hurt other people. There's not even a question. And you decide, we're just going to sell drugs, or we are going to sell fake medicine, or we are going to, mess up with the produce, and we're going to genetically alter it. And we don't care what happens. We're just going to sell that. And you know, and we know it. We know it's not even like we're ignorant. It's not even like we're greedy. We're actually feeling evil right now. We're part of the sorrow-causing machinery of this world. That is known as tamas. You better not be passionate with that, because the karma will get back to you many folds. So my child, to answer you simply, practice shaucham, stay tuned with karma and Sankhya Yoga, in short Jnana Yoga, and listen to that voice and keep remembering after today's class, oh my God, the person I like and the people I don't like, we all share a common self. And that common self is wearing different garments and coming as friends and foes to awaken me. Let me not hurt anybody knowingly. We may hurt people, insects, animals unknowingly. At least not let me do it knowingly. And let me take extra care, as the teachers like Mahavira and Buddha taught. Let me take extra care not to be source of pain for anyone. So I hope that will help you. I am a very passionate teacher. But I had a phase when I was passionate about me, and now I'm passionate about your well-being. And do you know, when I was passionate about my well-being, I could only be sorrowful. I only had bits and pieces of stolen pleasure here and there in life. You know, stolen from the cosmos. My pleasure. But now that I'm sitting here, and for past so many, I don't know, countless years, my every day is a gift and a giving back to the universe. And I don't worry about my happiness. I'm only happy. And I'm surrounded by an army of people wanting to support my passion without my asking. May you find the discernment to be passionate for the right thing, and may your passion be blessed by the passion of God.
Thank you, Shanyaji.
Blessings. Until next time, from holiness to wholeness, from zero to infinity, from bondage to sovereignty. Stay in touch.